guys, how you doing?
Hey, Mama.
How you doing? Hey, monkeys. How my monkeys doing? Hey, Miss Kate. The wild man is here. The wild man and the wild woman.
See, look. That's me.
Oh, now I see it. Super duper.
Look at me.
I know.
I'm almost dead.
Dominick's story is quite unique. He is actually the second of my grandchildren to spend time in our neonatal intensive care unit. His brother, Dino, spent a couple of days in there, but it was, relatively speaking, minor. Dominick, on the other hand, it was a special story.
I went into a doctor's appointment and I had high blood pressure, so they decided to induce me the next morning. Dominick came out very quickly, in a matter of minutes, and he laid on my chest. And when he was there, he was making little squeaking noises, and we were rubbing his back, and he was just beautiful, and he was pink and beautiful. And then we cut the umbilical cord, and when the umbilical cord was cut, Dominick started to lose his pink color.
There was immediately concern from the labor and delivery staff. The team from the NICU was called in to evaluate Dominick shortly after he was born. On arrival, Dominick was blue and he was obviously in distress. At this point, there is concern that there was either difficulty with his lungs or with his heart, so he was immediately admitted to the intensive care nursery.
At that point, they came in and they took him to intensive care, and oh my goodness, the whole family was so up. We just wanted to save our baby.
They rushed him over to the NICU. They prepped him, got him ready. They called Hopkins. Hopkins came out, and actually the Hopkins crew stayed there over 4 hours with him.
The vast majority of infants born at Howard County are able to be cared by the neonatal intensive care unit. However, there are certain babies that do require transfer to Johns Hopkins Hospital. One of these situations would include complex cardiac defects.
So the transport team, when they came in, it was kind of like watching the Navy SEALs or the SWAT team at work, because they were strong, confident, caring. I watched my son go by, but he was in capable hands.
So Dominick actually was born with a relatively rare form of congenital heart disease, which is transposition of the great arteries, in which the great vessels that exit the heart actually are transposed, they're switched. And what you end up doing in the neonatal period, shortly after diagnosis, is that of going to the operating room and do a fairly lengthy operation in which we actually have to untwist the great vessels, so switch them.
And when he talked about lowering Dom's body temperature to, I think it was like a freezing point, and that Dom was going to be on a bypass machine, all of those things are scary to hear.
Yes, it is a very delicate operation, and particularly the transfer of the coronaries. These are really very minute vessels, and they're sutured with stitches that are just as thin as a hair.
Possible stroke as a side effect that's common with this surgery and this procedure, and after being on bypass machine. And you know, he said, and they're all scary risks, Kelly and Dino, they're all scary risks, but we don't have an option.
I just went numb. I was really just, and that was kind of my feeling through most of the time that Dominick was in the hospital, to be honest. I mean, I remember a lot, but I just kind of was going through the motions.
So the next day comes around and we wake up bright and early and get to the hospital, and our support was there, both sides of the family, and they were there to pray with us, and they were there to hug us and cry with us.
It was such a wonderful atmosphere, even in the setting of a tense moment. I thought the family was just as close as you can see a family.
6 hours seems like 6 years when you're waiting to hear if your son is going to come out of having heart surgery.
I kind of just didn't think this was happening, but I also felt in the back of my mind like, all right, this kid's a Broccolino, he's gonna be fine.
And then, of course, when they called to say he is through surgery and they were able to sew up the chest, it was an amazing feeling.
To see him hooked up with all those lines and pretty tough for a few days there. But look at him now, he's a wild man.
Hey boy, how you doing, Dominic? Dominic's
My baby Chris.
the wild man. This is my wild man.
Today, Dominic is powerful.
Energetic and loving and the way that he loves my father and everyone else.
He's a miracle child. We're just so happy to have him in our family.
I am thankful for our relationship with our family because through the trying times, they were there for us. We're blessed. Our children are blessed.